Livingston, if you don't know where that is, it's in the Central Valley of California. You can see some of our demographics there. And actually, it's very common to many school districts in the Central Valley. We did last school year become qualified under the community eligibility provision. So all of our students got free lunch. So that kind of gives you an idea of the demographics that we had and we have. However, we always have been a school that has been able to kind of overcome some of that and be successful. So from day one, when I became principal there, we started talking Love Purple, Live Gold. And that kind of became part of our vision for our students. And it had a little bit of flexibility with it, but that became our identity. All students knew Love Purple, Live Gold. All parents knew Love Purple, Live Gold. All teachers knew, mostly because I said it a million times. It was kind of that consistent reinforcement of that's who we are. And then Inflection came in and started working with us in 2018. And the work, luckily, it was a happy accident. The work we had been doing fit right in with the MTSS work and with creating our Maxims for Livingston High School. The Love Purple was always about that connection to the school and being involved in school. And then that Live Gold was always about being the good person and having a plan for your future. We would take a whole day. The admin team devoted that day along with that instructional leadership team. And we just kind of talked through where we were at as a school and where we wanted to go. And then out of that came our instructional focus for the next year. So then we would start front loading that focus at the end of the school year that we were going to use for the next school year. The first 2 years we did like 1 year, the instructional focus we decided was going to be questioning. So we worked on questioning the next year. We also used staff and student surveys. So I would do a staff survey at the end of the first semester and the end of the second semester. And there were some questions that for all 5 years that I was at Livingston High School, they were on that survey so that we could kind of measure where we were going and if we were growing, if we weren't, if those were still things that were problems or not. Each year, a few things changed based on what initiatives were going on in our district and on our site. But for the most part, it remained consistent. We also used student surveys to help identify where we were being successful and if we were having the intended outcomes that we were looking for. So a lot of those surveys asked, like, in what classroom, like we would do a survey specifically on collaboration. So in what classroom do you do the most collaboration? What does that look like? We would also use those surveys for students to nominate staff members who were really doing a great job teaching them about one of the 4 C's. And then we would recognize those staff members based on those nominations. We would ask staff to nominate a student for one of the 4 C's. We even kind of narrowed it down at one point where we would do like, okay, staff, this week we want a 9th grader who did a great job on collaboration. And then maybe next week it'd be a 10th grader who did a great job with creativity. People were hearing those 4 C's all the time in different avenues. You know, kids were hearing it when their teachers were talking in class about it and teaching them about it. They were nominating teachers who were doing it well. They were getting recognized for doing it well. We were always talking that same language. And when you're talking about school-wide vision for readiness and a school-wide instructional focus, we really need to educate everybody about what's going on in all of our classrooms. In our district and at our site, walkthroughs are a common occurrence, or they were before COVID. So administrators would visit classrooms. And so we started focusing on the 4 C's. The important piece was that each time we were gathering data on a Google form And then we would share that back out so the staff knew what was going on school-wide too. I think that a lot of times as teachers, we know what's going on in our room, but we don't know what's going on in the room next to us. I really worked hard to keep that consistent message, so that meant catching new people up to speed. With new teachers, we could do that with a day before the school year started that was just for new teachers, and we would kind of really go in depth in that. It also gave the new staff members an opportunity to talk with veterans about how it actually looks in our classrooms. He was a chemistry teacher. He liked to use memes and graphics just to kind of connect to the lesson connect kids to the lesson. And he started putting on the bottom of his slides the 4 C's, and they had a little checkbox, and he would make those explicit connections between his lesson and then one of the 4 C's, or all 4 of the 4 C's. Sometimes it was all 4 of them. But he started just really explicitly laying that out for students. You know, classified staff is a huge part of your vision also. And so sometimes that was more difficult to get people caught up on because you're losing classified staff throughout the school year and having to replace them. We encourage our classified staff anytime that we were nominating students for something. Every year we did a Love Purple Live Gold Award. We recognize the 4 C's. We included classified staff in that also. So whether it was our SBO secretary who was working with students, you know, on a project for activities, or somebody's office helper, TA, we encouraged everybody to nominate for those awards. And our classified staff, they were always well represented in those nominations. A routine that we did have also kind of in the measurement side of it is we did do sophomore exit interviews and senior exit interviews with our students every year. So the seniors would be interviewed by members of the community. They would have the interview, and then as the whole vision evolved, they had to address what they learned about the 4 C's and how they would apply those in their future career when they were having this interview. And then what we did was we took the top rated interviewers, the seniors, and we allowed them to interview the sophomores. So we set up the same kind of process, but it was seniors interviewing the sophomores. So I think that was a routine also that really had an impact on students, because when they were a sophomore, they knew at the end of that school year, they had that interview. We were recognized as a Overcoming the Odds school. We did get recognition from the College Board for AP Computer Science for the number of females that we had involved in that program. Our College and Career Ready indicator, we scored very well in that area because we really had an emphasis on CTE. And then also with our English language learners, we've always had great success there. As part of our athletic league, the league we were in, we did a Scholar Athlete Award for each school in the league, and then we had a luncheon at the end of the school year. And then we got to talk about that student athlete, and then the student athlete also got to talk. And in year 4 of all of this, our student athlete, she talked about Love Purple Live Gold in her speech. She made an effort to strive to Love Purple Live Gold. And so the fact that she had internalized that and that she saw it as something to strive for, I thought was also a really great thing for us.